When it comes to Pokemon designs, it feels like almost every possible creature has been created into a Pokemon. No, seriously, we have Santa Penguin, Flaming Monkey, and even an anthropomorphic pile of trash. Seriously, what the fuck? And even with recent generations, we've seen Pokemon from real-life animals that we have been very excited for. I don't remember any more hype than there being a Go-Goat. You could ride a goat in Pokemon, and the panda Pokemon, Pangoro, that just beats things up. That was super hype. However, there are still some animal designs in Pokemon that have not been created yet, so this will be the top 10 designs that need to happen in Pokemon, starting off with the Platypus. The Platypus has actually been described as a real-life Pokemon because it's poisonous, that on their hind legs they have spikes that secrete venom that can be used just for jabbing venom into things, which is already very Pokemon-esque, but also it's a mammal that lays eggs. That's already one of the biggest things in Pokemon that people are like, hey, how do these Pokemon which represent mammals lay eggs? Well, the Platypus does just that, and it also burrows underground. I mean, this thing is a Pokemon. As for coming up with a design for it, all you have to do is stylize a Platypus, and now we have a Platypus Pokemon, and boom, number 10 covered. Let's go to number 9. I'm actually feeling that there should be more like skeleton Pokemon, not spooky, scary skeletons, but we've seen some design aspects from Pokemon like Cubone, Duskull, and even Houndoom. You know, there's bones, there's skulls, there's representation in that way, but I feel we could take it to the next level. And the ghost typing, we have all kinds of ghost type Pokemon. We have possessed trees, we have just spirit reapers of a dragon kind of form, we have pumpkins, and we even have evil balloons that carry people off into the underworld. I'm pretty sure we can get away with having some kind of bony creature. Now again, it can't be like a full skeleton unless it's done in the idea of some kind of animal, you know? There's bone dragons. Bone dragons are very common in pretty much every form of video game, so making a bone dragon Pokemon could be pretty cool, or at least taking Mightyena to the next level, as some other artists have done, and that could be a really nice way of having a different kind of skeleton Pokemon that's not kind of directly gross in the way that, you know, skeleton is just a skeleton. So it can be Pokemon friendly while also being a very cool and cohesive design. Next up, I was thinking about the Woodpecker. Well, we actually might not have to worry for too long because there is that Pokemon that was in the Pokemon Sun and Moon teaser. We think it could be a woodpecker, it could also be a red-crested cardinal, but in any case, you know, there's designs that are there, and people want to see this Pokemon. A lot of fan art has already come about it, and a woodpecker would just be very nice for the generational bird. I mean, we've already seen owls, we've seen all kinds of different bird types, so it just makes a lot of sense that we get a woodpecker, and that could be pretty cool. Now let's get on to number 7 for this list with the koala. I've actually seen this on a lot of other lists of people's like top 10 animals that need to become Pokemon. I mean, it's one of the first Pokemon, or first animals that comes to mind when you think about something that can become a Pokemon. Makes a lot of sense. It's already kind of goofy in its own way, so it wouldn't be too hard to transform. And the way I feel accomplishing it is that you have Slackoth and Slacking. You already have Sloth Pokemon, so you could effectively make a grass type of that, and you get a koala Pokemon that kind of really blends into the whole design of Pokemon. The problem of coming up with animals that need to become Pokemon is that you can't do it in a way that doesn't feel true to Pokemon, but a koala fits in nicely, and I think it'll be a nice fit. Alright, for number 6 on the list, I'm going to do something a bit different, because so far it's just been animals that have yet to become Pokemon, but I feel that we could also go with some more shark Pokemon. Sharks are pretty cool, and the only thing we have right now is Sharpedo, and honestly, it doesn't feel true to what a shark could potentially be. That just slapping a face on a torpedo, while somewhat actually being a realistic description of a shark, it doesn't do the species justice, and I feel we can get a better shark Pokemon out of it. Now actually, from the Solar Light and Lunar Dark fan games, we have some cool ideas that could potentially work out for being shark-type Pokemon, and I really like Mark Rush. Now this is actually a really genius idea because sharks use electroreception, I believe is what it's called. They can pretty much detect prey and kind of pick up on things that are going on around them through electromagnetic sensors and the ways of picking that up. So having a water electric shark type Pokemon actually works. Also, I like the idea of a Mako Shark, or at least that's what Mark Rush reminds me of, because Mako Sharks, they're crazy. They jump and fly out of the water and stuff. Now, it's true that the Great White Shark does that as well, but the streamlined design of the Mako Shark just makes it feel like it would be really cool to incorporate, you know? You give it some extra little stylized approaches, and now we have a Mako Shark that's a Pokemon that's better than having just Sharpedo. And if we're going to kind of tweak existing species, Walrein and Dugong, when it comes to like seals and walrus kind of Pokemon, I think we could do a little better as well, kind of take that to the next level of design choices, but you know, we can come up with something, so I was deciding to put this on the list. We're also going to keep in the water when it comes to the number 5 on this list. I'm thinking like sailfish or marlins, but these fish are absolutely beautiful. Like, they have great colors to them, they have crazy designs. I mean, the sailfish, it has a monstrous sail on its back, and the marlin looks really cool. This is very realistic and could be a really nice choice for having a new Pokemon design. The cool thing about the ocean is that fish are crazy, that there's all kinds of wild sea life out there, and even this design that we see right here, it's kind of like the mix between a sawtooth shark and a little bit of marlin aspects, but it's got some craziness. I mean, you can take these wild choices and turn it into something really cool. Also, there's really no shortage of just interpretations of what a marlin could be. I mean, I'm from Florida, so naturally got to represent the Florida Marlins right there, but we can also see that there's many designs and many different interpretations that could realistically be a fairly cool marlin Pokemon, and I think it's one that I haven't really seen on anyone's list, but the marlin is such a fantastic fish that it would be really beautiful to see in Pokemon while also being fairly vicious, and that's what Pokemon is all about. Next up, with number 4 on this list, Porcupine. Like, a Porcupine Pokemon would be pretty cool. Some people might argue that Sandslash is kind of a Porcupine Pokemon, but at the same time, it's like this ground thing that's more like a shrew and an echidna, but it has a little bit of armadillo in it as well. It's not a true Porcupine, so I feel like we could get a more design-elemented true Porcupine Pokemon, and it writes itself. I mean, there's Pin Missile. It's a literal pin missile if you could like take that to the next level of Pokemon, you know? Come up with some kind of cartoon porcupine, it's going to shoot those spines from its back, and that's going to be amazing, and this gives you a really good opportunity to make a Pokemon exclusive pin missile, so a stronger version of pin missile that works with that Pokemon. Man, I'm already taking this one. You give it Skill Link, the extra pin missile kind of thing, and that Pokemon could be pretty massive and really cool right there. Also, there's been like a Porcupine Digimon, so the design influences are there, that something could come from this and make it just more in the style of Pokemon, maybe a bit more streamlined as Pokemon likes making their designs, and we could get a really cool Porcupine Pokemon that makes a lot of sense. Next up on the list, we need a Stork. Like, number 3, a Stork Pokemon would be so cool, because when it comes to daycare and their whole, we don't know where this egg came from, we don't know how Pokemon babies are made, boom, Stork Pokemon. It would be so... it'd be done. Like, I mean, the way I see it is also with, like, Swanna from the 5th generation. We got 2 different kinds of bird Pokemon, so we could get our Woodpecker Pokemon and a Stork Pokemon in the same generation, and it gives us a lot of really good lore follow-through that if it turns out that there's a mysterious Stork Pokemon that has something to do with Pokemon eggs, it at least makes it not as silly that, oh, we're professional breeder things and we don't know where these eggs come from. So I think it could also be a very nice design choice. It could kind of be like Chansey, but carrying around an egg or have some kind of cool design. Also, looking back at Digimon, they did it pretty cool. I like their interpretation of like a Stork Digimon that grows eggs and stuff. It's pretty cool. So there's some design elements that you can take into it, and a Stork Pokemon would make a lot of sense, and I think it actually turned out to be pretty awesome. And now it's time for number 2 on the list, Dolphins. When it comes to lists of animals that need to become Pokemon, Dolphin is right up there. It's pretty much on everyone's list because it's cool. A lot of people like dolphins. They have their own interactions that seem pretty fun and friendly that could work out into a Pokemon design. And also we have Gorbis, and it's not really a true dolphin. It's kind of just the closest design that we have to a dolphin. It's more like a pipefish, snipe eel kind of thing, and you know, we could do better. We could do better when it comes to a true dolphin Pokemon, and like a lot of these Pokemon, like pretty much anything on this list, there's no real shortage of fake mons and designs that could actually work out, and you could just add stuff to make it a very stylized dolphin. You can change its whole body type around and still make it resemble a dolphin in different ways. I think it's just a very high up on the list of animals that need to become Pokemon, and that's why it's so high up on this list as well. Dolphin Pokemon, we need them, that'd be cool, and as you can see, even more water-type Pokemon. Boom, there's no worry about having enough water-type Pokemon, especially if the theory of this happening in Hawaii turns out to be true. Yeah, dolphins, marlins, sharks, it's gonna be really wild up in this, and I think that we can actually get some really cool designs out of it, stay true to Pokemon, and just be really awesome overall. And last up, for number 1 on this list, why do we not have any wolf Pokemon? That's actually absurd that we've had 6th generation of Pokemon and we don't have a true wolf. I mean, that's almost one of the first designs that becomes any kind of cartoon animal creature thing, but we don't have it. I mean, Mightyena just isn't a wolf either. It's more like hyena, wild dog, kind of just vicious thing, but it doesn't really work. It's a cool design, but we could take it to the next step and have an exclusive wolf Pokemon. And here's the best part. We have Pokemon Moon version coming up. If you do not put a wolf, which their thing is kind of howling at the moon, and it doesn't get any more meme than that, you can't screw this one up. You make a wolf Pokemon exclusive to Moon, or you even make the legendary based off of a wolf, which would go into so much amazing lore that it writes itself for the design. And if you have a problem coming up with a design, just Google wolf Pokemon or wolf Fakemon. There is no shortage of people that want to see a wolf Pokemon. It just doesn't make sense how we haven't had it so far. And here's the picture that I used in the thumbnail if you wanted to check it out in better detail. Like, wolf Pokemon, we need it. It just doesn't make sense that we don't have it so far, and that would be really awesome. And it'd be really cool. I mean, a lot of people like using, you know, dog-type Pokemon or dog-resembling Pokemon, and there's really not enough of them. Then we can make a badass wolf, and we're good to go. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Those are the top 10 designs that need to become Pokemon for the top 10 new Pokemon in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.